Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Tonight we have a couple of different speakers. We have Rachel Uribe coming on to give us a tournament report from the kayak tournament at El Cap yesterday. She won that tournament with 92 inches, total of 5 for the biggest 5 fish that she caught. She gives us a great rundown. And then right after that, we have Stephen Tucker, which is kind of the part 2 to Jake Evans podcast that we did last week. Stephen is one of Jake's good friends, younger gentleman, 22 years old, and he has a lot to tell us about forward-facing sonar and a lot of the other stuff. You know, one thing about the what we call the kids, I mean, they're in their early 20s, most of them are now. They do use forward-facing sonar, and they're really good at it. They're super good at it. They're winning tournaments. Stephen Tucker has finished high up in the standings for the last couple of years. One of the reasons is due to forward-facing sonar. The other reasons is because they put a lot of time in. Those kids are out there all the time, and he goes and touches on how he likes to go down the bank and grind it out with Carolina rigs and jigs and whatever. And then, you know, they've really come a long way with that forward-facing and learning-wise, and they're just catching bigger fish out there. So anyway, we got a double header tonight, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks. Welcome, everybody, to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Tonight we have Rachel Uribe on, and I'd like to first of all just say congratulations, Rachel, on your win yesterday at El Capitan.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That was awesome. You know, that was it was a kayak tournament, and you guys do inches, and normally I'm not used to inches, but so I had to figure out what exactly you had. You had, how many inches did you have? You had 91?
92 inches.
92 inches total for the biggest 5.
Yes.
That comes out to 18 and a half inches on average.
Yeah, right? So I had like 2 19-inchers, an 1850, and then two 1775s.
Yeah. So that's like a 3.5 pound average.
I think so. It's hard because, you know, sometimes like the fish are long, but they're skinny. So
yeah,
you wouldn't think that they're as heavy as they should be. But yeah, so it just depends.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game compared to like the boat scene. So.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great bag. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So could you give us just a tournament if you don't, let me back up a little bit. If you don't know who Rachel Uribe is, if you've been living under a rock here for the last few years, she is the prominent Uribe family. Joe Jr. is her brother, who just won at Havasu at the Western Outdoor News Tournament. Her dad is a longtime tournament fisherman, and she's part of the whole Bridgeford sponsored group. So it's really a pleasure having you here tonight, Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we are a big, huge fishing family. My brother and I represent the Bridgeford fishing team out on the West Coast here. But yeah, getting to the tournament on yesterday and Saturday for El Cap. It was our final event for SoCal Kayak Anglers. It's a kayak circuit that I fish with out here. And so last tournament of the season, it was supposed to be a hot day. I think it was supposed to be like 104 out there. But anyways, I hadn't been there since April was our last tournament there for SoCal Kayak Anglers, which I also won as well. Fortunate enough to pull off another win. Yeah, so El Cap has been good to me this year.
Yeah,
it's cool. Been fun. But yeah, the water looked totally different than when I was there in April. It's dropped a lot since I've been there. Back in April, I was fishing trees and just drop shotting. This time around, I actually stayed close. I actually was right in the first cove from the launch ramp when you make that first right. There's that little pocket in the back, and I saw some birds posted up on the bank, and I saw a couple fish busting every now and then. So I was like, okay, let me just check it out. And ironically, there's no anglers back there on the kayak. So I was like, all right, let me just go check it out. And I'm going on my trolling motor and I have my graphs on and I'm like, man, the water's dropping. It's like 2 feet, 1 foot. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to hit bottom. So I pull out my trolling motor and I get on my paddles to try to go a little bit further back. And I have my buzz bait on in the morning. This time of year, I usually like throwing my buzz bait or an S wave or something big, a big bait, because I feel like they're chasing bait usually around this time of the year. And so I just start throwing my buzz bait around, going up shallow, hitting the bank, working my buzz bait back, and I start getting blown up on, catching fish, catching fish. I'm like, man, this is amazing. Birds are working the area. The water's so low. Like I'm fishing from a foot to half a foot of water. So I can
Wow.
actually see the backs of these fish just going in the cove. So I can kind of like cast ahead of them, knowing that they're heading in that direction, but they're just targeting on bait. Like the water's, it was a little dirty, stained water, but you can see like there's tons of bait in this pocket back there. So you can see the backs of the fish just chasing this bait. So I just throw my buzz bait ahead of them and just working it back, and it's kind of weird because I'm used to like having top water, like the fish just blow up on it and you can just, you know that you're on because you see a big blow up, which I love. But it was interesting this time. I don't know if the water was just so shallow or the way they're eating, but they just suck it in. And so I just felt tension and my buzz bait was gone. I was like, oh, I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another key for that as well is the way that they're eating it was a little funny. So I did put on a trailer hook, which helped me execute all of my bites that I got.
Okay.
So that was good. So by around 9:30, I had my limit already. And there weren't, it was an average. I mean, nothing big. I think my biggest was like a 1775 and then my smallest was like a 14-incher. And you could just see like the whole dynamics in that cove kind of changed. The fish weren't busting as much. I didn't see as much bait working back and forth. The birds were kind of moving out of there. So I'm like, man, I'm just not feeling this anymore. I feel like these fish have pushed out. The sun's coming up, little blue skies and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right. I know like past mid lake, I usually primarily, there's this bank that I like working that I usually do good around this time of year. So I was like, okay, either I just work the rest of this front cove over here or I just head back. But I got to make a decision right now because I only go like 3.6 miles per hour in my
Right.
kayak,
Right.
you know? And it's time, when your line's not in the water, that's time if you're losing fishing or trying, possibly going to catch a fish. So I'm like
Right.
I'm in my head. I'm like, man, that's a long run. It's probably like 30, 40 minutes for me. That's time off the water. But
Is
am I,
is that each way?
no, that's just one way.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just
Right.
one way. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do it, I just got to go now. If not, I just got to figure it out here and just pick it apart. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go to the past, mid lake and just go towards the back and hit my pocket back there that I like to fish. So, and it's hard. It's hard to like not stop, because some stuff looks
Oh
good.
yeah. You
It's
start
hard.
seeing you
Yeah.
start seeing some stuff you like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I'm like, no, just focus. Just keep going. Drink your water and just keep going.
Because if you're gonna do it, you gotta go. You gotta.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
exactly. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying.
So I pull up to my spot, my bank that I wanted to fish. And like 3 casts in, I get a huge blow up on my buzz bait again. And it was on for like a second. Like within 3 cranks, she already came on button. And I was like, man, I came all this way. And this was the fish that I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she came unbuttoned. I was like, man. So I'm in my head. I'm all bummed out. But I'm like, just, you got to keep going. Like you made it this far. You got to just keep working hard and keep grinding on the buzz bait. So I'm throwing the buzz bait, nothing's happening. And I'm already going to hit the end of my stretch that I like to fish. And I have my graph on. I don't have my live scope or anything with me for this tournament. So I'm going, and on my graph, I'm like in 15, 18 feet of water. And I see this kind of like a hump with some rock on it, a little bit of trees. And I see some bait on top with a couple of fish hugging the bottom. And I'm like, okay, let me see what this is. Let's just see if these are feeding fish or what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So I go past a little bit, put my spot lock on, grab my drop shot, throw my drop shot out there, and first cast 19-incher. And I'm like,
Nice.
wow, nice. Good
Yeah.
decision, like good call.
Yeah.
So that buzzbait fish that I lost, I was feeling a little bit better now that I caught that 19-incher.
Yeah.
And so I'm so thankful for spot lock. Like that is, for me, that's my bread and butter right there, because and it was windy. The wind was picking up at that point. Like usually towards the back of the lake, that usually gets a lot more wind going through that area. So
Mm-hmm.
I was able just to stay on my spot, because I knew where the juice was now. So I get that unbuttoned, and it's different. Like, you gotta hook the fish, you gotta put them in the net, then you gotta lay them out on your measuring board while they're flopping around, hold them down correctly so you can take the right picture,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're thinking, because I'm usually on the back of the boat, and I'm like, okay, I net the fish, I'm good. But on the kayak, no, you have to get that picture, the proper picture to submit, or else
Right.
you can get deductions, or it's not going to count.
Yeah.
So I finally take that picture, and then I just throw my drop shot a couple more times. I catch like a 15-incher, but at this point, I called out my 1475 with the 19-incher, so that was like a huge upgrade for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so at this point, I knew like I
5
needed.
inches.
Yeah, yeah. So I was stoked. I was excited. And at that point, I had like a 1675 that I needed to call out. So I caught a couple more fish. They didn't upgrade. Cast it back out there again and caught another 19-incher. It's
Wow.
like, sweet. Like at this point, I'm like excited. I'm like, I don't know exactly, because on that lake, we don't have reception to submit our fish.
I was going to ask you about that, how that worked.
Yeah. So on that lake, we don't have reception, but on the app on Tourney X, you can submit it to like your live well. And so it will keep inside of the app for you, so that when you get reception, you can just hit those fish and then upload it to
Yeah.
the leaderboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had no idea. And usually when I'm out there kayak fishing, like on the tournaments and stuff, they have the leaderboard live, so like you can see where you're at and how everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't like looking at the standings. Even like they usually turned it off like an hour before too, but throughout the day, I'm not looking at it. The only thing I'm looking at is to see what I need to upgrade, because I'm not going to waste my time, taking a picture of a fish that's not going to help me at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at this point, I don't know what I have. I'm just like, I'm just fishing and fishing. And so it's like, it's about 2 o'clock, and lines out was at 3 o'clock, or it's about 1:30 ish.
Yeah.
And it was windy. So I was like, I need to start making my way back. The wind's going, and I have to. So lines out was at 3 o'clock, and they gave us an hour and a half to go to the 7-Eleven. That's right
Oh,
before
okay.
you make the turn. That's where we all get reception.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they gave us to 4:30 to go submit our fish, because if you don't submit them in time, then they're not going to count.
Right.
So yeah, about 1:30 ish, I start heading back. But this point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna throw on a big glide bait, see if I can maybe get another kicker fish to just come up while I'm working this bait kind of fast.
Mm-hmm.
Never get another bite.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you know, I was fortunate enough to get the right bites, and I knew that I needed to, because I still car top my kayak, so I
Yeah.
knew it's going to take me a
Oh,
little
yeah.
while. Yeah, and I don't know how busy the launch ramp is. There's a couple bass boats out there, pleasure guys out there, and
Mm-hmm.
we have all the kayakers. Most of the guys have a trailer too, so sometimes the launch ramp gets a little busy. But I'm like, okay, I gotta get over there, get my car, load up my kayak and stuff. And at this point, I think I got overheated out there too. I was just exhausted. My muscles were aching, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, I still need to put my kayak up there and stuff. So yeah, anyways, I put my kayak up on there and I head down to 7-Eleven and submit my fish. And I'm like, wow, 92 inches. I got 92 inches today.
Then it kind of hit you.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that was pretty good.
Yes. Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
that's my biggest that I had this season so far is 92 inches. So I was
Uh-huh.
excited. It's hard for me to break like the 90 mark. For some
Yeah.
reason, it's a little struggle to hit that 90 and above. So I was excited. I didn't know how the rest of the guys did, because again, I submitted my fish and you can see the leaderboard, but again, I don't like to look. So I
Right.
just waited for the awards to happen. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to get first place. I was excited to end the season that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, the next number two place was 87.5. You beat him by a few inches.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good day. Definitely a blessed day
Yep.
in the water.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did Marco go with you? Was he fishing with you that day?
No, and that was another in the morning too. I was a little bummed. I knew the weather was going to be hot. I don't like to take them
Yeah.
out there when it's
Oh,
extreme
yeah.
conditions like that. So I had to keep him at home. Got a dog walker for him and stuff. But
Yeah.
I love having him on the kayak. It's just
I
a
know
joy,
you do.
and he helps calm me down. Like when I lost that buzzbait fish and stuff, he just kind of helps me get back in that groove and mindset and stuff like that. But no, so
Yeah.
he didn't go out there with me.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
nice and
Okay.
cool back home.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on here and giving us that rundown. That was a great rundown.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't even have to say anything. You were
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
we're gonna go ahead and post this tomorrow night on San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. It'll be on Spotify and YouTube if you want to check it out. And we really appreciate it. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to say thank you to all the guys at SoCal Kayak Anglers who were
Mm,
able to make this season happen again for us. We draw a huge number of kayakers out here. 70 kayaks usually is what we have for
yeah.
each tournament. So very thankful for them and all my sponsors out here too to help make this happen. So I appreciate everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Which sponsors do you have? What kind of kayak and batteries do you have?
Yeah, so I run the Bioenno Power lithium batteries ever since I had my kayak. I love them. I have never had a problem with them. Top notch lithium batteries.
Mhm.
I have a Vibe Shearwater kayak. It's a 12.5 foot kayak. And I run a Garmin Graph and a Minn Kota trolling motor. But my primary sponsors as well is Bioenno Power, Bridgeford, Dalton Toyota out here. They helped hook up my Prius that I have. So grateful for them. Without them, I mean, I wouldn't be able to car top
Oh,
my
yeah.
kayak and everything like that. So if
Yeah.
you all are looking for a Toyota, a vehicle to tow your boat, a vehicle just for pleasure, go hit up Marco
Marco
and
Finelli. Marco
yeah, Marco
Finelli.
Finelli, yes,
Yeah.
over there at Dalton Toyota. Great guys. They're always supporting, the sport of fishing. So go look them up if you guys are interested in a Toyota. Also, Reaction Innovation, Performance Tackle, Boss Weights. They've helped me out tremendously, making a lot of my wins with the drop shot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and Daiwa Rods, Sims, and Porch Eyewear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you very much. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Okay.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.
All right. Welcome everybody to another episode of San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Today we have Mr. Stephen Tucker, and I would call it like the Jake Evans Part Two almost. It's his cohort in the whole forward forward facing sonar world out there that's
Yeah.
dominating our tournament scene lately. Welcome. Thanks for coming on, Stephen.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Bruce.
Yeah. So first things first, I'm scrolling through your Facebook here and I see your profile picture has this gigantic bluefin tuna in it.
Yep.
Is that your PB?
Yeah, that's my biggest one. That one's probably pushing 170. It's not a very big one. I haven't
Yeah.
caught a 1/200 yet, but
Not yet.
no, I've caught a bunch of them that are like right there. And we actually
Yeah.
lost one that was probably pushing that a couple weeks ago, but
Was
yeah.
Was that with George?
No, that was just with my dad and family. I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
gone out with George and them yet, but
No.
they kill those fish.
They yeah, he does a good
Yeah.
job of it.
Yeah.
Speaking of 200-pounders, he's
Yeah.
pretty good at it. So that's cool. So you guys have your own boat and you've
Yeah.
been going out tuna fishing?
Yep, we fish around here for tuna, yellowtail, and stuff like that. And then we also fish a lot down in Baja, Mexico.
Do you
So,
trailer down there?
yeah, yep. I've been down, up and down all the way from San Diego to Cabo 4 times now.
Oh, no
Towing boat.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
First
So
time.
where do you guys go? Like, do you go to Abriojos, or do you go to the Sea Cortez, or just all
Yeah, Sea
over?
Cortez side. We try to spend kind of most of our time down on the Baja Sur Peninsula. We like
Uh-huh.
it a lot better down there. I mean, up north is awesome and the Pacific, but we spend a lot of time on the Sea Cortez from, Loreto down to Cabo. That's our
Yeah.
that's our favorite spot.
Yeah, I've spent a little bit of time at those islands.
Yeah.
Yeah, San Francisco and San
Mm-hmm.
Jose and
Yep.
down in there.
Yeah.
Carmen.
Yep.
Carmen is good.
Yeah. Lots of
Yeah,
yellowtail and dorado and awesome fish down there.
yeah. We caught sailfish on surface irons one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
which was kind of crazy. That was pretty
The
crazy.
fishing down there is really, really something special. We've
Yeah.
seen awesome yellowtail fishing in Loreto the last couple of years and dorado.
Uh-huh.
A lot of big tuna out a little bit further too. A lot of people don't go chase them, but there's giant, 300
Oh yeah.
yellowfin out there too. That if you
Oh,
go fly
yeah.
the kite, they're out there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's
Which
on the
I don't think they do that too much down there, is
No.
fly the kite.
no. We did actually we did that a couple years ago down in Cabo. I think it was 2020 on my senior trip, and we went out on a 35 Cabo out of
Uh-huh.
Buena Vista down
Uh-huh.
in Sea Cortez, and we flew the kite and we caught a 250-pound yellowfin
Nice.
on a yummy flyer.
Nice.
Yeah, we
That's
rolled
awesome.
up on a school of porpoise and caught a 60-pounder and a bunch of little ones, and then all of a sudden that thing came up and
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah. That's kind of weird how sometimes they're
Yeah.
mixed in like that,
Yep.
especially on those dolphin schools.
Yeah, and down in Mexico it's so different like that because you find those dolphin. A lot of times you find the tuna right away, but
Mm-hmm.
a little bit different up here.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't relate like they do down there for sure.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I see that you just finished second last weekend
Yeah,
in the night tournament.
in the night tournament with Jake's little brother, Braden.
Yeah. Yeah. Braden was on there. Finally,
Yeah.
it's good to see him out.
Yeah,
I used-
so he's
I
my
used to-
age.
Oh, is
Yeah.
he?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm, what am I, 2 years younger than Jake? I'm 22, he's 24. Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
And Braden's my age. I've known both of them all throughout high school and middle school. And all
So
that.
I was trying to get Nick and Victoria on here to give me a tournament recap. Can you give me a tournament recap of what happened that night? Was it good fishing?
Just fishing or everything?
Yeah, you don't have to get in specifics if you don't want to.
Oh,
but
no,
just,
I
how'd it
caught
go?
all those fish on a chatterbait in the marina.
Oh, you did too?
Yeah, yeah, we were.
Because I'm sure that's what Nick did.
I don't know where he was at. I heard he caught
Yeah.
that big one on a chatterbait, but
Yeah.
it's the first time ever I've drawn first boat out at any tournament ever.
Yeah.
In Victoria, whoever drew boat 15, and we were the first boat out. So
Uh-huh.
we just flipped around and went right up there, and we
Nice.
caught three fish in our first 3 casts,
Yeah.
and they were small,
Yeah.
1.5 pounders, and then just kept going up and down that bank all the way to the spillway right there all night. Went
Yeah.
back into towards the aqueduct, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, congratulations, man. That
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
was,
good
it was
hit.
really fun to get Braden back out there too. I know he's been wanting to do that. So
I
it was
remember
fun.
seeing him work at the lake there
yeah,
for a while.
he used to work there for a while. He's I don't know exactly what he's doing now. He just started a new job actually. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was fun fishing with him. We're
Yeah.
supposed to do them all, but I was traveling for the first 2.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
next one is in 2 weeks, I think, at El Cap.
Mhm.
So that one should be interesting. It hasn't
Yeah.
been great. It has not been great in the last couple of years at night.
Right.
So
Yeah. Our club does occasional night tournaments out
Oh,
there.
really?
And yeah, and it was okay last year, like you said, but it wasn't great. We did
Yeah.
have one guy get a 10-pounder, but that was kind of just those night tournaments, they can be so random.
that's night fishing. I haven't caught it. I don't think I've caught one over 7 pounds at night yet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay,
I mean-
so what do you do for a living?
I work in IT. So that's
Oh,
my
you do?
Yeah, I do.
For some reason, I thought you were like an electrician or something.
No, so I do a little bit of electrical work on variable frequency drives, but just I'll give you a little bit of background.
Okay.
Our family
Yeah.
company, my grandpa started way back when. He started Turbine Industries, so he made industrial vacuums. It was first for dental pumps, so vacuum dental pumps. That's where he
Oh,
started,
okay. Yeah.
and then transitioned into the express car wash space. So
Uh-huh.
he started making vacuums for express car wash market. So he did that for like 10 years and then sold that company to my dad in '02, the year I was born. And my dad took it over, started running it, growing it. And I started working in the summers when I was like 14, right my freshman year in the
Yeah.
back shop, doing warehouse parts, shipping everything. And then really kind of just started learning about computers and Microsoft and technology and everything, and took off from there. Learned everything on YouTube and on the internet, and now I help support our IT infrastructure for 2,000 employees.
Yeah. Wow. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get past the fluff. Let's get down to the meat. Um, how much of your fishing is done with forward-facing sonar?
A lot of it nowadays. A lot of
Do
it.
you do you even go out anymore and just like beat the bank, or do you just
Yeah,
yeah?
I do. Yeah, a lot actually. And I do spend a lot of time out in the middle though, chase them around.
Oh,
But
I see you out there. Yeah.
yeah, but that's not all I've done forever, you know.
Right.
But when I go to the lake, obviously I know that the fish are out there from just, the time I've spent out there, but I'm always looking for that different bite, whether it be, a dragon bite or, a reaction bite up shallow on grass, but we really haven't seen any of that at our lakes in the last, I want to say three,
Yeah.
4 years. It really
Yeah.
hasn't been there.
It seems like there's a lot of fish offshore,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's just because we're looking for them offshore or
And
what.
I was at El Cap yesterday, and I had a jig, a Carolina rig, and a drop shot in my hand for, from 10 to 3, and got 3 bites. And
Yeah.
that's probably just me because with experience and all, but that's just, how we've been able to catch them at
Well,
our lakes.
the thing that shows me that is that the dragging guys, the guys that have been years past, top finishers
Mm-hmm.
aren't top finishing, and
Yeah.
they should be able to go up to a rock pile that they know has fish on it
Mm-hmm.
and catch 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Just now some of them are now like I don't know how much of a scoper Jesse Hinckley is or
He doesn't have it on.
or Nick. They don't even have it on the boat, and they
No.
did fish well.
Yeah,
They
they do.
placed well.
Yeah.
So I do have to give it to them, but that's kind of almost the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
You guys with the machines on the front are
Yeah.
dominating right now.
Yep. And yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about because there's so many aspects you can look at it, right? From just the whole technology side to it all the way to fishing, right? Because
Yeah.
I totally agree that it does, there is that disconnect with, the instincts of fishing and getting bit, right?
Mhm.
You're looking at a screen at the end of the day, staring at dots,
Yeah. Yeah.
throwing to them. When you look at it holistically like that, it really makes you take a step back. But it's also done a lot for the industry in the last few years. It's brought a lot of new people into bass fishing, I think.
Mhm.
But it's also caused a lot of controversy and sparked a whole
Yeah.
other storm.
It has, I mean, come on. Like they banned cameras. And a camera can only see as far as the water is clear. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
silly, really. You can only
Yep.
see 5 feet,
Yeah.
10 feet, maybe 20 feet. And now they put these stuff
Uh-huh.
on the boat that you can see out 120 feet
Yeah.
in dirty water. So
Yep.
it's kind of whatever.
It
I
is.
like
And
it. I'm on your side. Like,
I understand both sides completely, right?
yeah.
But, you also look at like, big tuna tournaments and everything down in Cabo. All those guys running the $1 million boats, they have $120,000 Omni sonar.
Yeah.
Which they use to track down 400 plus pound blue marlin.
Oh, I've been using forward facing sonar for 20 years.
Yeah.
I run in long range boats. If you
Yeah.
didn't have it, you're not a player. You're not catching fish, and your fish counts go down. You're not seeing bluefin schools and chasing them down and being able to chase them down. So, I'm all about if it makes it easier to catch fish with, I'm there. I'm with you.
Yeah, but it all comes. Yeah. I really do understand though, everybody, all the controversy around it, because
well, the lakes are small.
Yeah.
It's not the ocean for one thing. It's not like you could miss them by a mile. So the lakes are small, so they're, I don't know. So anyway, I'm glad you guys are using it. I'm glad you guys are using it to your advantage. What's your how do I put this? Like when you're forward facing, do you do any certain thing? Are you like, do you go down the bank and are you looking for things like rock piles to throw to, or are you like out in the middle kind of guy throwing?
So the only time I really ever use it for structure is kind of up shallow for grass and rocks, obviously. Rocks are probably the easiest thing to see on it. So
yeah,
and fish even too. You could, if they're up above the rocks, you can spot them pretty well. But mostly when I go out there, I'm chasing schooling fish, right? The schools of them that are out there pushing bait around, whether it's with, a ball head shad bait or a little top water even sometimes. And that's really it. I'm out there with my trolling motor on 10, chasing them around, trying to find the ones that are active on the top, mostly pushing bait around and ready to bite.
Yeah.
Because there is an insane amount of fish out there. I mean, from bass to bluegill to crappie. I mean, they're all out there. The bait's out there too. And from not just out in the middle too, from a foot all the way out to 50 feet, they're everywhere chasing bait. So that's where I just feel like the large percentage of population of bass are, chasing shad. So that's where I feel like I can catch the most fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day.
What kind of outfit do you prefer to use? I mean, are you using casting gear, using spinning gear?
I don't really use casting gear a whole lot unless I'm up shallow fishing grass. Most of the technique that I use came from Kiyoya Fujita. I saw his video from, I think it was Toledo, or one of the first ones that he won.
I love that video. I've watched it so many times.
Yeah, and it just blew my mind when I saw that bait. And I didn't even really know what it was, and I had to do research on it and find out. And he had it on a ball head, and then I think it was a couple months later, Ben Milliken had posted a video online of him catching him like that. And then I think it was, that next week I went out to El Cap and tried it and caught a couple on it, but never, really did great, and just kind of kept doing it every time I go out to the lake, because I love jig fishing. I really love throwing a Carolina rig and throwing a chatterbait. It's my fishing grass. That's what I really love to do. But I just kind of kept, poking out there and seeing what's out there, and didn't even really know what a fish looked like at first out there in the middle.
So you use spinning gear. Do you use do you use one of those 6.5 foot rods? I
just use a 7.6 Phoenix M1.
Oh, you do too?
Yeah.
Because that's what Jake said the other day, and it kind of surprised me.
I don't really own any rods shorter than 7 foot.
Because that's what it seems like. Yeah. Well, that's what they are doing. Yeah. And Taku just said the same thing again.
And heavy line too.
And they use 20-pound braid.
Yep.
And like 12, 15, even 20-pound leader.
And that's the switch that I made. I throw 12-pound leader now. I don't really mess with. Yeah. Yep.
I don't want you to throw any secrets out there. I'm not asking specifics.
But
that's really interesting.
Everything's already known.
I'm glad you
it's
said
all
that.
Public information.
Because it's like, I've watched a couple of the guys, wine fish in, and it looks
Mhm.
like, oh man, he's using really
Yeah.
light line. So
Yeah. It
I've
is.
gone to a lot of light line,
Yep.
but I haven't gone to 4 pound or anything. But I've dropped
No.
down quite a bit. But now I'm going to start for myself. I think I'm going to start going back up
Yeah.
and
I would try it.
see what I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jake really changed my mind too, because I used to be really line picky as well about
Right.
everything, and then after starting to fish with Jake over the last few years, he really doesn't,
Really.
yeah, at all. Like throws jig on
Yeah.
20-pound, and so, but yeah, I haven't really noticed a difference. They're either gonna bite it or they're not.
Yeah. But the other thing is too, well, of course, is that you guys are good at it. Like you guys, where your beam is, and you're I'm sure that you're very
Yeah.
accurate with getting that jig and that beam and
Yep.
seeing it and watching the whole thing go down
Mm-hmm.
and being able to keep it above the fish or whatever you got to do
Yeah.
to get that fish to bite.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes the place, in my mind, that takes the place of going from 6 pound to 20 pound, just the presentation factor.
Yeah, a little bit, but I really don't try to complicate it that much. At the end of the day, there's those shad in all of our lakes. They're 2 to 4 inches, and they're silver, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I try to go
Yeah.
find those fish that are fired up, chasing, because that's when you can trick them, right? You still have to trick them and get them to eat your lure at the end of the day. So
do you spend a lot of time idling, looking for those fish?
no, I'll sometimes just drop the trolling motor and take a peek, put it on 10 and just cruise around and see what I see if I, schools a bait or fish around. But I don't really idle around out in the middle per se. But, looking for rocks and stuff at new lakes, I got a pretty good idea of where all the good rocks are at El Cap and San V and around here. So, but, most of the scouting's done with forward facing.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I'm able to, if I do that, just driving around looking for schools, you got to be able to see a school and then drop the trolling motor down and see exactly what's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every single day on the water is different. There's been days where they've been schooled up. There's 300, 400, 500 fish in one school, and it doesn't matter what you throw in, they're gonna eat it. And then you show up the next day and they're gone. They went somewhere, but they're gone. And you could spend 3-4 hours trying to find them and not see a single thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, to get back to the tournament thing, where'd you guys place at? What tournaments did you fish this year? Did you stay with the same partner, or did you switch partners up and through the different tournament
So
scenes?
Sean and I think we did all 3 circuits again this year.
Yeah.
MBW, ABA, and we didn't do all the team series. I think we missed the first one because I was out in Florida for work. But we finished second in ABA. Tom snuck up on us, and he only fished five tournaments, because there's how ABA works is it's you can drop total points for the 5 tournaments because you have one throwaway. Yeah. So his best 5 tournaments were all second place finishes. So he snuck up and beat us by I think like 10 or 15 points at the end. And I think we ended up in 3rd or 4th in team series. Yeah. And I think the same in MBW.
Mm-hmm. With your partner, Sean.
Yeah.
Now, so how often do you go to the lower river? Because I just saw that you
as much as I can
with Jake.
Yeah. As much as I can. That's really where fishing in general started for me. That's where I caught my first fish. I think I was 3. Yeah. Back when it was just Senator's Wash. Caught a bluegill out there, and we've got a trailer out at Hidden Shores.
Oh, so you do too? Okay.
Yep. And I love it out there.
Oh, me too.
It's awesome. It's different than anything we have out here.
You have a riverboat?
I do. It's not out the river. It's a 19-foot low. It's a duck boat, so it's got a line on it, but it works. It works for fishing. It doesn't have a live well or anything to fish a tournament on. Yeah. Out of, but No, it should be fun with Jake's new.
Oh
aluminum that we
yeah,
just got. It's gonna be.
yeah.
We're gonna be able to get to places.
You're gonna get in trouble with that.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, the
Take
Lower
a
River. It's
take
an
a
awesome trip.
chainsaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be
I spent a
so
lot of
fun.
time on Google Earth looking, and there's a
Oh,
lot of spots out there that have
so
been
much time on
untouched.
Google Earth.
Yeah.
There was a new one that I found, and I won't go through it. I look on Google Earth, and it's a long tunnel, and I go up to
Mhm.
it each time, and I look in there, and it's dark, and it
Yeah.
turns, and I'm like,
Yep.
nope, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do it.
Yep. Yeah. It gets scary. I mean, even once you get just a little bit past Martinez and you're going up past all the sandbars too, if you're not familiar with how the
Yeah,
river's laid out, it's really
yeah.
easy to run up on top of a
Oh
sandbar.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
But there's a lot
I've
of
had
good water to be fished up there.
I've pulled some people off sandbars up there.
Yeah. Hmm.
Especially you get around Picachos, they're kind of dotted like on
Yeah.
each side, and so you're going back and forth
Yep.
and doing whatever to get up there. Yeah.
Yeah. And they shift, over the years too a little bit. I haven't ran up past Picacho in 4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love it up
We've been
there.
we've been catching
I
a lot of
mean,
fish, in
yeah,
between Martinez fishers and Hidden Shores.
yeah, yeah. That's what Cody was saying. He's
Yeah.
like, there's enough fish down south that you don't have to go up there.
Yeah. Probably
Yeah.
not as many. I bet you'd have some epic days up there if you spent the time. But
Yeah.
I'll be up there at some point.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I love going into Island and whatnot and doing
Yeah.
whatever.
I've only been up there twice, a long time ago.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's some good ones up there for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fish to be caught up there.
Hmm.
I always the first day. So when we do our tournaments there, we go there a couple times a year. And my first day of practice, I always like go all the way up. I wait
Hmm.
for the sun to come up and get to about noon, and then I shoot up the river so I can see the sandbars and then mark them. So that
Yeah.
when tournament day comes, if I have to run up there in the morning, I can do it without having to worry about it with just on the GPS.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that works. That's my game plan usually when I fish the river. Not that I go up there every time, but just
Hmm.
in case if I have to.
Yeah. That place
Yeah.
is a reaction fisherman's dream.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great.
Any time of year
they
too.
eat big baits and
Yeah.
yeah.
You just keep covering water till you run into them, and then once you run into one, you'll probably run into a few more.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's running into that one. Like you go into 3, 4, or 5 backwaters that have nothing.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the next one has 6-pounders.
Yeah, and you come out of
Swimming
there
around.
with 6 pounders, or sometimes you come out of there with 20 pounds in
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of the river.
Yeah. It sure is.
Hmm. Yeah,
So you went fishing a cap yesterday. How was that?
it was all right. It
Yeah.
was kind of slow in the morning. They boiled a little bit in the front and kind of by the finger coves. They came up and pushed bait
Yeah.
around for the first couple hours, and then it kind of died off. Right around 10, the wind started to pick up.
Have you been to Otay here in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I went with Jake on Thursday. Yeah, it was open on 4th of July, so we went out there for the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we caught.
Yeah.
I guess we kind of caught on a slower day. We caught about 30 of them.
Yeah,
Out
that's
there in
good.
the middle, on the drop shot in the back of Harvey, and drop shot in the back of Otay.
Oh, they weren't busting around or nothing?
Not as good as they'd come up for 5-10 minutes at a time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they only did that a few times. And
Huh.
then we got out of there at like 1 o'clock. But I heard it was great yesterday, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Everybody's chiming in how great it is and
yeah,
this and that. I was out there last week and it was good. And it was all just fishing breakers, I
Yeah.
took my father-in-law out there. We had a great time.
hmm yeah. It's a fun.
But,
fun. Water's up.
Yeah.
It's coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I don't think
The
it's come
water's
down at all, has it?
The what?
The water level? I don't think it's come down at all since,
No.
at all.
No. They haven't pulled any water out of there
Yeah.
other than evaporation.
Mhm.
Which I don't even, there must be some kind of water going in there because I would have thought it would have
Yeah.
evaporated more than that.
Mhm.
Evaporation takes up a lot.
Yeah, especially that lake too, for where it's at and how much closer it is to the water.
Yeah,
Ocean.
yeah, and it's flat. You know, it's not real
Yep.
deep.
Yeah.
That's why they
Yeah.
pump everything into San Vicente, is because it's so deep and there's less evaporation.
Yeah. Fun lake though.
Yeah.
I think we got a couple night tournaments up there this year.
Yeah.
At Otay.
Watch out for wear your mosquito repellent.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is an atrocious lake at night.
We were all the way in the back of Harvey, next to the trees, not in the trees, but next to the trees, and the sun went down, and man, it was they came out at us. It was full force. That was crazy. There were so many mosquitoes. We had to get out of there. It was like unfishable.
Oh yeah, if you're not prepared right when that sun creeps over the hill, it's probably just better to get out.
Yeah.
Before it's too late.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to suffer for.
Pray for some kind of breeze, some kind of wind, and hope just get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, but the last couple of years at Otay, when it was shallower, those night tournaments were really fun. I mean, we caught a lot of fish. All of them were small, but I mean, you'd get blown up on the frog every single cast.
Right.
There'd be other blow-ups going on too, so you didn't know if you were bit or not because you couldn't see, and you just swung and hoped it was there.
Yeah.
But we'll see what this year has in store.
So are you planning on fishing any bigger tournaments, as in Western Outdoor News or MLFs? Or
I really want to try to do the Western Outdoor circuit next year, especially with what they've opened up for the BASS side. That's really cool, and I see a little bit more benefit to doing that than anything on the LMF circuit. But it really all depends on work at this point. Yeah. Yeah. But I'd really like to try and fish, at least, I think, there's 5 of them next year again.
Yep.
At least 3 of them.
Yeah.
Is going to be my goal next year.
Have you been up to Clear Lake? Or
yeah, I did Clear Lake 2 years ago. Actually, I did it 2 years in a row. I did 2021 and 2022. 2021, I went up there and fished as a AAA. And that was really fun. Really fun.
No horror stories about AAA?
No, it was great.
I mean, your boaters were good, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. I fished that year. I fished the Havasu tournament a couple months before the Clear Lake one, and I had a couple characters the second and third day, and it was fun. I still caught fish, but
I've heard
it was interesting.
I've heard some stories.
Yeah.
And because I would like to go do Mead, but I've never been on Mead, so I'm thinking about going and doing it as a AAA. But then I hear these like, oh man, you get stuck in the back of the boat with somebody that sits on a rock all day that doesn't catch anything. We're not catching anything, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Do I want to do this?
Yeah, no, I had a pretty good experience at both the tournaments I did backseat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's cool.
And then I did take my boat up there in 2022 to go fish that tournament, and it was a good experience. I didn't do great, but that was the first.
Is that the one that Jake took 9th?
No, that was the year before that.
Oh, okay.
So I think he finished mid-pack. I think he finished in the 90s or something.
Oh, yeah.
Around there.
Yeah.
That year.
Mm-hmm.
I think I finished like 170th.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, 160th or something.
Big learning experience.
It was a great learning experience. You know, that was the first time I've ever, done anything like that on that. So, and I haven't gone back yet.
Just the logistics that are involved with it, as far as getting your boat there, getting settled down, fishing. Like fishing comes way after keeping your everything together, and then you have to go find fish.
Obviously, we're young. We can live off ramen and gas station and energy drinks. So that's kind of what we did. But it was a blast. It was a lot of work, but it was all worth it. It was a great marine experience.
Yeah.
It was about a 13-hour drive instead of a 10-hour drive because, that was Jake, but it was fun.
So how do you feel that you're pretty good at Havasu?
I don't really have all that much experience out there. I've only been out there 5 times now, but it's very similar to the river. I'm coming to find out, and especially the river at Havasu.
Oh yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah.
I love going up into the river at Havasu.
Yeah. There's a lot of fish to be caught up there.
There is.
It's still overlooked by, over
I
half the
know.
field, I think, every event. So
Just
I'll
because
definitely be up there.
they have it in their head that if you're going to win, you're going to win it in the lake.
Mhm.
And it's been that way for years and years and years. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope they keep thinking that,
Yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So we don't even need to get into that.
Yeah. But Havasu is an awesome lake. It's a lot like the river, but you got that main lake.
It's loaded with 4 and 5 pounders.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
4 and 5s in there.
Yep. And
that-
bigger too.
in the
They're
lake.
they're good at hiding.
Yeah.
They're good at
You're
hiding.
just competing against those locals that pull into
Yep.
into a cove, drive
Yeah.
to a cage, throw a
Mhm.
drop shot out, catch it, and then go to the next one.
Yep.
It's like, oh man, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. And I know a lot of tournaments have been won down south too. And I haven't
Yeah.
even been down, past really, what is it? I haven't gone down, more than a couple miles past the London Bridge.
Oh yeah.
I haven't
You
even
got to
been
go out
down
of
there.
Cattail.
Yeah.
Just go launch down there.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm probably gonna do.
and start looking around.
We'll be out there. No, MBW, I think, is in October or November.
Oh yeah.
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 So Sean and I will be out there for that one.
Cool. That'll
Yep.
be great.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole nother lake down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's
that's what everybody tells me.
Big
And
ones down there.
last year when we were there for the ABA championship, I told myself every day, we're gonna go down there, we're gonna do it, and then just never did, because we caught fish kind of everywhere we went, but it wasn't the quality or quantity that we needed.
Yeah, my biggest fish have come from down there. Well, right on. Good. That sounds like you got mapped out next year.
Yeah, we'll see. That's the plan I'm going to try to stick to, because those one events are really, really fun. I mean, Billy does a great job at putting them on for how big they are, and it's really what we got on the West Coast. So
it is. That's what we got.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might as well, if that's what you're going to do, go spend your $1,000 and see where you place, and you'll do good. You're going to do good. Yeah.
I feel a lot more confident. It's more time, more experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Boy, it's such a learning experience too. I mean, you want to learn fast, get your butt kicked by those guys that are catching 20 pounds a day, and you're coming in with 15.
Yeah.
You learn real quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it really, it makes you think, and makes you want to put that much more effort into figuring out how the heck can they do that? Like, what is so different that I do that I can't, produce?
Yeah. It's a driving
anything
force.
close to those results.
Yeah.
And then you piece it together over time a little bit. And, and that's the joy that we all chase.
All right, man. Do you have any sponsors or anything you want to shout out to?
No formal fishing sponsors. Just awesome parents and awesome family.
Doing it on your own.
Yep.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah.
And taking the time to be on the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. And I guess we're gonna wrap it up.
All righty.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay. Thanks, Bruce.
Yep.